had to get coffee. Coffee is king. Let's see, is the volume coming through? Yep. Let's mute that one. Alright. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And for everyone watching out there, Merry Christmas. I should get a Hanukkah and a do Islamists celebrate anything around Christmas? Because I know the Jewish do Hanukkah, but I don't know if they do anything around end of December for people who are Muslim. You know, gotta be fair, gotta celebrate all the different holidays. Alright, awesome. Welcome to Carter's Corner Daily. It is the 19th of May 2021, and I'm your host, Travis Carter. Welcome, welcome. Absolutely gorgeous day outside. Very, very bright. A few clouds on the horizon, so we might get a bit of rain this afternoon, but anyway, it's been good. First of all, I just wanted to do a big shout out to all my Patreons who've been helping this out. Patreons have been going up because of the shows, which is really awesome, so thank you guys. Pays for all the newspaper subscriptions, the data, and all that sort of stuff. So without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this, which is phenomenal. I can't thank you guys enough. So obviously, if you want to jump on as a Patreon, patreon.com, Carter's Corner. YouTube, Facebook, Carter's Corner. Obviously, Twitch, Carter's Corner. Actually, that's a lie. Twitch isn't Carter's Corner. It's only for Teemo 1983. That happens to be my gaming tag for League of Legends. It will be changed, but Twitch won't let me change it until 2 months. So 7 weeks to go. Kind of embarrassing, but yeah. I play Teemo. Teemo's fun. He's annoying. Anyways, let's get into this one. So we've got 4 press releases so far today. So we've actually got one from our own local member. He is the one and only Dr. Tony Booty, or Anthony Booty, MLA and the Minister for Lands. So this one is kind of an interesting one because it's about land development. So in one of the other videos I was saying how a lot of these awarded tenders, I haven't really seen much spoken about it. So here's a tender that's coming up. God, I love my coffee. Okay, offers invited for landmark development site at Montario Quarter. So Montario Quarter is on the corner of Shelby and what was it? It's in Mosman Park anyway. It's opposite to Shelby Quarter. I think it used to be a hospital or something. It says it further down. So Shenton Park development opportunity released through Development WA. Montario Quarter to be a sustainable and vibrant new residential community. The lot is zoned R160 for multi-unit development and estate expected to see new housing and retail opportunities. So I'm guessing what's going to happen, there'll be like units and little businesses on the bottom with residential up on top, like, you know, 2-3 bedroom apartment complexes. If I had to have a guess, I'd say maybe 3-4 stories high. Lovely location, really close to the city. A Shenton Park development opportunity at Montario Quarter has been released to market, with developers invited to submit offers to Development WA. Located just 5 kilometres from the Perth CBD, the 15.8 hectare Montario Quarter is taking shape on the site of the former Shenton Park Rehabilitation Hospital. So yeah, I was right, it was a hospital. Let's see, lot 36 is a 5,263 square metre site zoned R160 for multi-unit development and overlooks landscape parking in a much sought after inner city precinct. So there's already some absolute amazing parkland in that area. I have to say Shenton Park is a gorgeous area, extremely expensive. Now, talking of expenses, a couple of things that got brought up on Carter's Corner. The TV show was talking about this was the Honourable, what's the date today? 19th. Yep, still the Honourable Charles Smith was talking about a lot of these major building developers being able to get away with a lot of things that they probably shouldn't have been able to get away with. So this will be an interesting one to keep an eye on for the Honourable Charles Smith, because it'll be interesting to see who actually wins this in the end. How transparent will they be with the bidding system? And have they shortlisted a few people even before this press release got released? So it was released today. I'm just going to quickly jump over into my email and see what time I received it. So that came through about 7:32 this morning. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see if this has already been awarded before the press release was released. Okay, for development sites within Montario Quarters, four development sites within Montario Quarters have been sold together with 30 single residential lots, while first residents move into their new homes in the late 2020. So I'm pretty sure that's on the other side of the road where this one they're talking about, because you've got parkland, then you've got the old site, which is all flat, cleared, no trees, nothing. It's literally just flat grass, and it's all cordoned off. And then you go across the road, and then there's another development. I was looking on Google Maps, like Street View, and they'd already started construction, but I couldn't see if anything had been finished. So that picture might have been a couple of years old. Google Maps don't update that regularly. So anyway, Montario Quarter will ultimately deliver more than 1,100 new homes across a range of housing types, including apartments, townhouses, and single residential homes, together with retail and hospitality options. So they'll probably have cafes, a few boutique clothing stores, and a few other things down in that area as well. The construction side of things will actually generate quite a few jobs, so this will be interesting. Construction is underway across several lots through Montario Quarters, including the Shenton Quarter development. So that's the one across the road. Directly opposite Lot 36 will feature a Coles supermarket, specialist food and beverage providers, and retail outlets. Lot 38, which combines 3 boutique residential buildings alongside the rejuvenated heritage-listed Victoria House. I might have to go look that one up. This is set to create a community-centric central hub which will become home to local hospitality and health-related businesses. And with Lot 12 construction is sustainably underway, with 12 terrace homes fronting Shelby Street now all sold. Interesting. The Green Building Council of Australia has recognised Montario Quarter as being among the world's leading sustainable developments through accreditation with a 6-star Green Star community. This is only the second time a Western Australian developer has received such accreditation, and the first infill development in WA to receive it. And then it goes in through to the details. I like the fact that they're trying to be environmental about this, but I'd like to see if it's really as sustainable as they put out to be. And the other thing I'd like to see, what is actually required to get a 6-star Green Star community rating? All right, so comments from Minister Tony Butty. I'm curious, do I have to say Minister Dr. Tony Butty, or is it just Tony Butty? Montario Quarter is an outstanding example of state government transforming underutilised land in established areas into thriving, vibrant residential communities. Good quality housing, close to quality public transport links, and key activity centres is a sustainable way for our city to grow. This urban village sits within minutes of quality schools, key public transport routes, and medical services, and offers excellent proximity to both CBD and the beach. Montario Quarter will be a sustainable, attractive, and vibrant new residential community with more than 25% of the states devoted to public open space and parklands. So you actually like that. So if they really, there's no need to destroy the economy to do environmental things. So when you have major developments like this, because this is a major development, like what was it, 5.8 hectares, 15.8 hectares of land. So this is a big slab of land. For them to turn around and say like 25% is going to be dedicated to open space, forest, like landscaping, and parkland and stuff like that. So environmental things. I think that's a really, really good step in the right direction. You can charge a premium for it because of its location. The amount of stamp duty you don't get from this is going to be phenomenal. You got the income tax from the work, people actually doing the work, the stamp duty when you finally sell the places. There's so much revenue for the estate to come in through something like this, which is really, really good. So all they need to do to start making WA a lot more environmental place without destroying the economy is make sure that these sort of developments, especially housing developments, have a set amount of large tree space set aside. So I've had a look at some of the playgrounds in the area, and there's a lot of very big trees in this area, so which is good. And it does a couple of things. So having large trees reduces the temperature of the concrete and the bitumen roads in the area, because obviously it's in shade, won't take in as much solar radiation, therefore won't radiate as much heat. B, it's a lot prettier than looking at a concrete jungle. And C, having those trees there is a natural air filter. So the requirements on heating, cooling, and all that sort of stuff becomes less, because the more trees you have, the more stable the environment. And also, the sound of listening to birds and things like that in the city goes a long way to silencing the sound of the cars on the freeway and things like that. So having things like this, I actually really, really do support. Now, we shouldn't be destroying our economy and ripping down all the existing things to build more tree space than that. But as things become, especially buildings become dilapidated and they get structured for destruction, start assigning things to additional parklands, wildlife, animal shelters and all that sort of stuff. I think that's a good thing to do. Now, commitments are attributed to Netherlands MLA Dr. Katrina Stratton. I think she's just a normal member of parliament. I don't think she's a minister or anything. It's exciting to see a former Shenton Park Rehabilitation Hospital site being brought to life with significant benefits to the Netherlands community. In keeping with the history of the site, several places from the former hospital have been recycled and will be repurposed in the development. Work has already started on the rehabilitation of the bushland along Ontario Quarter, and when completed, more than 1,100 new trees will be planted across the estate. So that's awesome. That's a lot of trees. Shenton Park has always been one of Perth's most desirable inner city locations, and development like this will give more people the opportunity to live and thrive in our community. Now, the one thing I don't like about this, you're building, how many housing slots was it? Yeah, 1,100 new homes. Okay, so let's assume 2.5 people live in each of these houses. Some are going to be less, some are going to be more. So you're looking at an extra, just this one site alone, an extra nearly 3,000 people, 2,750 people in this one area. Perth's getting over congested already. There's just too many people in Perth. Now, this is the thing. Everyone's going, oh, what about Melbourne? What about Sydney? Same thing. Wait. They're beyond us. So Perth has an excellent opportunity right now to plan for the massive growth already. So rather than developing these into high density residential areas, I think they should be focusing more on creating better public transport into the city, better transport, and I'm talking about buses now, going from the residential locations in the not rural, but outer suburbs, getting from where your home is to the train station so you can get into the city and back home again reliably, safely, without having to spend an arm and a leg. Other things I'm finding is the cost of public transport getting from, let's say you were living in Armidale. No, Armidale's got a train centre. What hasn't got access to a train? Let's say you're living in Williston. So you've got to catch a bus to a train to the city, and sometimes you've got to catch an additional train. So if you're going from Williston to Mandurah, you go bus to train station to the city down to Mandurah. So by the time you finish all that and then your return trip again, you're looking at about $30 a day. When you take into account fuel, it's actually cheaper for you to drive from Williston to Mandurah. That's if you're working there. So one of the things I love to see is making public transport more affordable, having more connections, rather than everything going to the city, have more connections going from, say, Armidale to Mandurah, going east and west, because there's not much of that. So going from the Thornley train line to the Mandurah train line, or Thornley train line to the Midland line, things like that. So it's a lot more flexible. I think a lot more people will catch public transport then. And the other thing is having trains more regular. trains, like half the time you get there, you see the train go, then you're sitting down for like 20-30 minutes waiting for the next one. That poses a lot of problems as well. Okay, so anyway, yeah, new development in the city. So if you have a building company, tenders are available. So media contacts is down here. More information, here's the link. And this is the location where you... Oh yeah, so you've got to be in by 2 p.m. on June 23rd, which is a Wednesday. So that's Western Standard Time. Okay, so yeah, all the details are there. I'll leave it up for a little bit, so if there is any project, major companies or anything that want to do it, there's this stuff right there. Go have a look. All right, so let's drop that one down and let's go jump over into the next one. So this next one, again, Dr. Booty. I do apologise if I'm not pronouncing this one right. Get the zoom sorted. Jump over here. There we go. Boom, and turn you on. See, I'm getting better at this. I'm getting slowly better at it. I'm not a superstar yet, but we'll see. Let's pull that down a little bit. So this one is from Dr. Tony Booty and also the Honourable David Templeman, MLA Minister for Tourism. Okay, Perth secures historic Ashes Test and One Day International in the 21-22 season. Okay, Optus Stadium inaugural Ashes Test confirmed for January 2022. Cricket lovers urged to turn out in numbers to Perth's blockbuster international fixtures for the 21-22 season. Cricket's greatest rivalry is set to return to Perth following today's announcement that Optus Stadium will host the 5th Ashes Test between Australia and England from January 14th to 18th next year. Now, for the people who don't like sports, this is massive. Like, the Ashes are awesome. The greatest thing is, like, especially like let's say your significant other is hassling you, go mow the lawns, whatever. Just say, "Oh, I'll do it after the test." 5 days of peace. Yeah, not going to happen. Anyway, the Ashes are really, really awesome. Unfortunately, Test cricket is something that is getting... I find the popularity of Test matches aren't as great as they used to be, say, 10 years ago. I think the Big Bash had a really big impact on it. But this is like the way cricket started, way back in the day. Don Bradman made his record playing Test cricket. So... yeah, no, I'd love to see more people get down to the cricket because it's not so much what's going on the field. It's all the activities within the crowd. It's like a full-on festival. It's awesome. I really love going to Test cricket. Can't go as much as I used to, purely because I can't sit down for like 8 hours at a time. My back just can't. Okay, moving on. The Ashes Test is the headline international fixture for the 21-22 season, which also includes a one-day international against New Zealand on January 30 at Optus Stadium. Hopefully there's no more COVID outbreaks. Anyway, Western Australian cricket fans are urged to turn out in force in the upcoming international fixtures at the WACA and Optus Stadium, Western Australia Cricket Association ground. Cricket Australia has factored in quarantine periods for all international series in its 21-22 fixtures, and subject to health advice, events are expected to proceed in line with COVID health guidelines. Certain indoor and outdoor venues with ticketed fixed seating, such as Optus Stadium, are able to operate 100% of its fixed seating capacity under the current COVID-19 health guidelines. Now, I find it a little bit interesting that the COVID, the restrictions got lifted, I think it was less than a week ago. So Saturday got lifted, and this media statement came out 3 days later saying, hey, we've secured this. So I'm wondering if lifting the COVID restrictions was one of the conditions of awarding these matches. Commitments attributed to Sports and Recreation Minister Tony Booty. There's a chance for cricket fans to be part of history with the first ever test match at Optus Stadium. This is an opportunity for young cricket fans all over West Australia to see some of the world's best players. Comments attributed to the Tourism Minister, David Templeman. Optus has proven itself to be one of the best stadiums in Australia, and we're excited to be hosting some blockbuster sports events. The fixtures are a great opportunity to attract crowds and domestic visitors while putting Perth on display to an international TV audience of millions. And it's true, it definitely millions of people watch it. Especially in India, they go absolutely crazy for the cricket, especially when you get teams like Australia and England playing against each other in things like the Ashes. Oh, huge. They love it. Couple of things here. I'm noticing they're not promoting it for people from England to come watch the cricket. And also, I'm wondering if Mark McGowan will open up the borders to allow interstate cricket fans to come watch. So let's say if you're a cricket fan in South Australia and there's no test match when playing in South Australia, will they be allowed to come over to WA and watch the cricket? So that's the question for you. Border shutdowns are just bad, really bad. Great to see sporting events catching back up again, because sporting events aren't massive for when you're trying to bring in tourism dollars and things like that. So yeah, really good. I'm kind of happy with that one. It'll be again. I'll be curious to see what happens with the COVID restrictions. Will there be a outbreak all of a sudden where they have to restrict it again? I find some of the timings of these outbreaks to be a little bit suspicious. But yeah, we'll have to see. Now we have one from everyone's favourite Attorney General. Is he Attorney General? Yeah, Attorney General. John Quigley. Not a big fan of his, I'll be honest with you. Let's see. I need to zoom this one in a bit more. Yeah, we'll go a bit more. Makes it easy to read. Okay, dedicated volunteer among community services law awards winners. So 3 winners presented with Attorney General's Community Service Law Awards. Anytime you see the words family lawyer and recognised, there's so many problems with the family law court. I have never heard of a good family law court lawyer. Yeah, if you're giving awards to lawyers who are fighting to keep kids away from their parents, how you can even contemplate awarding these guys anything, I think this just shows that John Quigley is an absolute joke. I've been sent copies of letters sent to him. The problem is with under Section 121 of the Family Law Court, I can't report on it because it could incriminate the child or whatever they use. There's so many cases where lawyers, judges, independent witnesses, child protective agencies have massively abused their position to try and intentionally keep really good fathers away from their kids, purely for money. Well, have a look at the Cockman family down in Margaret River. Have a look. His dad did a article and he said about what happened with it, and just the way those lawyers behaved is diabolical. How they're allowed to continue practicing is beyond me. How the Honourable, and that's a joke in itself, John Quigley, MLA Attorney General, can allow lawyers like that to be continuing working in that field is a joke. So, all right, let's get into this, see how it turns out. Family lawyer John Redmond's decade of voluntary work recognised. Now, it'd be really interesting where he's volunteering work for. Awards during Law Week promote pro bono legal work in the community. A lawyer who pioneered free legal advice at night and a Pilbara service helping disadvantaged people negate the justice system have been recognised in the Attorney General's Community Service Law Awards. Attorney General John Quigley presented the 3 winners with their awards at the annual Law Week breakfast today. These honours called attention to legal work being provided for the public good in Western Australia by individuals, legal firms and not-for-profit organisations. Veteran lawyer, family law, John Redmond won the individual award in honour of his long service for pro bono work dating back to 1982 when he helped establish the Sussex Street Community Law Service. That's actually, you know what, John? I take back 1982, providing free legal advice for what's that? That's nearly 40 years. That's a monster of an effort. Yeah, good work, John. Hopefully, he treats both mothers and fathers going through the family law court system equally. The non-for-profit award went to Pilbara Community Legal Services, which assists people across the region for the main population centres to remote communities. Minta Ellison? Wondering if that's a typo. Minta Ellison received the Legal Firm Award for its work with a range of community services providers and non-for-profit organisations, contributing thousands for pro bono hours. This is the 15th time the awards have been staged. The awards returned to the Law Week slot this year after the 2020 presentation was delayed due to the pandemic. The Legal Firm Award was introduced last year to highlight the pro bono work being done in the community by commercial law firms. Wow, this is a tongue twister of a presentation. I'm struggling with this one. It's a privilege to present these awards during Law Week to people and organisations contribute to making the justice system more fair and equitable. So if you want to make it more fair, you just remove lawyers from family court hearings. If you really want to make it fair. One of the stats that I'd love to see, how much legal aid has been given to mothers in separation cases versus legal aid given to fathers in separations. I think that'd be a very telling stat. We'll never get it, but it'd be a telling stat. John Redmond has been doing pro bono work for about 40 years. He still volunteers at the Sussex Street Community Law Service, where he set up the Night Legal Service that provides free advice on family and civil matters, and is a minister-appointed independent prison visitor by Bandiap Women's Prison. So he seems to be focusing on women. Interesting. We'll see. The Pilbara Community Legal Services plays a vital role in helping vulnerable people for its 4 centres and throughout home visits and outreach services in more isolated communities. I think that's actually the name of the place. It's probably 2 people's last names put together. Minta Ellison set an excellent example by sending lawyers to community legal centres and ensuring junior lawyers spend 1 day a week for 6 months doing pro bono work. I actually really like this because it's a great way to get new lawyers to learn about the trade. It's not taking them and throwing them straight in the deep end. It gives them a chance to talk to people, learn people's problems, and some of the times that people go to a lawyer, they're having the absolute worst day of their life and they need help, and they need someone who's going to be willing to sit down, listen, and try to understand the situation before going, oh no, you have to do this, that. So having the ability to work pro bono to help people to get the experience is really important. There's a lot less of that these days. I always remember when I was a kid, about 14, and before I could actually get paid work, I had to do work experience, and that was generally like a week's worth of work, unpaid. I'd work for different companies like Woolworths, Coles, and a few others. I used to do boundary umpiring free of charge. And so that gave me the work ethic to say, right, you've got to do the hard yards before you get paid for what you do. And a lot of that stops the, I'm special, you got to pay me $100,000 to work at Coles or whatever. It teaches them that you got to crawl before you walk and walk before you run. I congratulate and thank this year's winners, finalists, and nominees for the valuable work that they do. Now, one thing I do want to bring up is, first of all, I'm not trying to have a crack at John Redmond here. 40 years of pro bono work, that's huge. So well done, John. You are definitely a deserved winner of this award, in my opinion. One thing I'd like to see is, especially in lawyers, a lot of them go, oh, I'll only represent women. There's a law firm in Rockingham that's pure, they flat out say, if you're not a woman, I'm not helping you. I hate to tell you that. That's sexism. So when you're providing a service, you provide it equally and fairly. So a lot of these cases when they're doing this, A lot of the people offering pro bono work, they offer it only to women, and that's, I hate to say, that's discriminatory and racist, sexist. So that it needs to stop. Same with these, the Pilbara Community Legal Services. There's a few places like this up around the Geraldton region where they only offer legal advice to Aboriginals. They don't offer it to anyone else. So only the Aboriginals get the free legal advice. What about, there's a very high Filipino population in Geraldton. What about the Vietnamese population in Geraldton? What about the Caucasians? There's quite a few Japanese in Geraldton as well. What about the African migrants that are now in Geraldton as well? What about all the people who aren't Aboriginal? So does that make that law firm racist against everyone else? So again, you're discriminating by only helping one group of people. You're putting them up on a pedestal saying, oh, you're so fantastic, I'm going to help you. Or you're so crap that you need the help, so we don't give it to you for free. So, and I can tell you now from all the people I've spoken to in the Geraldton community, we had a emergency service shelter up there. We've still got it. We've rescued a couple of people off the streets. We, at no point have we, what's what I'm looking for, made it women's only or anything like this. We're trying to level it out. So there's so many women's shelter up there, but there's nothing for men. So we've made these ones for men, and particularly we're focusing on kids. I want to make sure that the kids stay off the street. So the family that we've got in one of the houses at the moment, they were living on a beach, and he hadn't seen his kid for 5 years because he didn't have a home. So we put him in there, and now he's got joint custody of his son. So that's absolutely phenomenal. So, but there's a lot more work that needs to be done on that side, and things like this, awarding awards to people who are focusing on women. I don't know if John Redmond's doing it, if he does focus on women, but he's been pointed at as a minister-appointed independent prison visitor to bandy up women's prison. So what about for the guys that need legal advice? So there's a lot of situations where it's not just women that are in trouble, it's also men that are in trouble. There's kids, like men and women can be parents to kids, so they both need help. So it should be equal across the board. And I find if you start recognising people only because, they've been working with women for 40 years, so you mean they've been discriminating against men for 40 years. So there's two sides to every argument on this one, and that's one of the reasons why I think discrimination needs to be called out exactly as it is. So I would love to see a bit more information about these companies to find out if they are discriminating against men, women, the Pilbara Community Legal Services, very high Aboriginal population in that area. But for the Caucasian, African, Asian communities up in those areas as well, will they represent them, or is it only for Aboriginal people? So I think that well done getting the awards, but I'd like to see more information about that in these press releases. Okay, so done that one. Done with Quigley. Again, I'm not a big fan of Quigley, in case you can't tell. And when we were about to launch today's show, we had another press release come in. Now, this is a new one. I haven't actually, I don't think I've done one for this Member of Parliament yet. So let's pull it up now. Beautiful. There we go. So the Honourable Amber Jade Sanderson, MLA Minister for Environment. Public consultation open on Hootaman Abrolhos Island National Park Draft Management Plan. Okay, so the people who don't know what Abrolhos Island is, it was the resting place of the Batavia. So they're a set of islands off the coast of Geraldton on the carrier boat. It doesn't go very fast. So I think it's about 200 kilometres off the coast of Geraldton. Please don't quote me on that one. I'm not 100% sure. So there's a whole heap of islands up there. There's some very, very rare birds out there. So for about, I think it's about 6 months a year. I haven't been up there for a very long time. So this information is very rusty, maybe incorrect. Oh, here we go. 60 kilometres off the coast of Geraldton. But it takes the carrier boat a long time to get out there. It's about 4 hours. A lot of people actually take helicopters because it's quicker. So there is birds out there. They shut down the island in the off season for crayfishing, and then during the crayfishing season, they all come back out. They go fishing they for about 3 months, and then they come back in again. So most of the huts and shacks up there are actually shelter places for crayfishermen. But yeah, beautiful place, absolutely stunningly beautiful. But one of the crayfishermen was the story that we were told was that he was moving his clothesline. And so what happened is he started digging a hole and he hit a big chunk of wood. He's like, hang on, that's squared off timber. That's not meant to be here. And so he started digging out and he worked out it was a part of a ship. And so a whole heap of scientists came out and they did some testing and they worked it out to actually be the wreck of the Batavia. So there was a mutiny. They killed the captain, took over the ship. I think they got shipwrecked. And then Mother England, at that time it wasn't part of Australia, sent out a crew out there. They caught them all and hung them all for mutiny and killed all the sailors that took over the ship. So anyway, so let's get into this one. The draft management plan for Hootman Abrolhos Islands released for public comment. I grew up in Geraldton. We've always just called it the Abrolhos Islands. I actually don't know where this Hootman, whatever it is. Media release milestone for McGowan government's plan for our parks initiative. The public is now invited to provide comment on the draft management plan for the Abrolhos Islands National Park, located about 60 kilometres west of Geraldton. This park was the very first to be created under the McGowan government's initiative plan for our parks. The draft management plan was developed following extensive community consultation across a wide variety of stakeholders and will be open for comment for 2 months. It focuses on the park's natural, cultural heritage, economic and visitors' values, and explores how these will be protected and used sustainably to ensure its struggling today. Ensure it is preserved for the future generations. The Abrolhos Islands are home to diverse and rich wildlife, as well as several shipwreck survivors camps, including the National Heritage listed areas associated with the Batavia. Read out line. Oh, I might pull this one up so we can have a quick look. This is actually turning out to be quite an interesting press release. The draft management plan is available to read online at and the public consultation period closes on July 26, 2021. Okay, so you got about 1 month to about 9 weeks to watch it, to read up on it. 9-10 weeks. Okay, comment from the Environment Minister, Amber Jade Sanderson. The public consultation period is an important step in the process of establishing the national park in this amazing part of WA. These islands have a rich history and provide important habitat for vulnerable wildlife, including Australia's lesser noddy, fairy tern and Australian sea lion. The McGowan government is committed to preserving this unique land archipelago while also promoting a sustainable tourism model for visitors to enjoy. I encourage interested members of the community to take part in this public comment opportunity to have their say. As someone who grew up in Geraldton, opening Abrolhos Islands up to tourism, I can't see anything good happening from that. Again, I'm not a hardcore greenie. I'm not an environmentalist. I don't think tourists should be allowed to stay on the island. A lot of the island is actually former coral, bedrock, limestone. It's not a very good. The foundations is terrible for building things. I think if they were to build anything that would house let's say the islands are tiny, like they're really, really small. So let's say you want to put 300 people on the island at a time, across all the islands, additional to whoever's actually naturally out there. The amount of damage that's going to be done to the environment out there will be huge. So what I would like to see, and this is something that Vietnam did pretty well. They've got these great big barges, and what they do, you jump out onto the barge, and they take you out all through the heritage listed islands, all through the Ha Long Bay. And so you don't actually go onto islands, you don't stay on the islands, you can go onto the islands and have a look, and then you come back off the island. So they don't build anything on these islands. And for overnight trips and stuff like that, you actually stay on the barge. So I'm thinking that would be a much, much better option if you do want to get tourists out there. The islands themselves are so delicate. Like, yeah, and the crayfishermen, they understand how important this region is, and it's phenomenal how far, and they'll really rip into each other if they see someone doing something wrong. I always remember my brother had a boat up there and was stupid loud, and he used to always get ripped into because it did drop a little bit of oil, and so all the crayfishermen just constantly hassled him until they actually got the motor fixed on that little boat, and so it stopped dropping as much oil as it did. So things like that, they understand that if they damage this environment, they'll probably lose quarter to half their livelihood each year. That's how important the Bryce Island is to the crayfishing industry. On top of that, you've got the wetliners that fish out there. The commercial fishing importance of the Bryce Islands it cannot be underestimated. Again, going back, if you start impacting and playing around with the environment up there and start damaging the supply of natural wildlife up there, you got to remember the sea lions eat the fish. And if you start damaging the environment and the fish have to go away somewhere else, all of a sudden you're affecting the sea lions. It's not just one thing that you're hurting. It's a chain reaction of things that really need to be taken into account. So from the information I've got growing up in the area, seeing the Bryce Island myself, I don't think we should be encouraging people to actually develop the land. I think we should leave the land exactly as it is. For people to stay on the islands, because you got to remember the crayfishermen are up there for I think it's 3 or 4 months. The crayfishing season up there is. Anything more than that, like the level of construction up there now is probably too much in my opinion, but I can understand why it's there. But a lot of the crayfishermen, they try to work around the environment. They try to do things as sustainable as possible. And even now, I think they're pushing it to the limits. I think any more than this could cause quite a large problem. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we just leave it alone. There's more. Australia has so many absolute gorgeous, stunning places for tourism. I think it just doesn't need to be developed. There's so much other things that can be developed before we do the Bryce Islands. And that's my 2 cents. Go have a look at this dbcawa.gov.au. Have your say about the Bryce Islands. It's an absolutely stunning place. It really is. Look it up. And like I said, it is actually the home of the Batavia. That's where they found the wreck of the Batavia. Yeah, so yeah, not needed. As much as Geraldton could use the extra tourism dollars, there's better ways to do it. Geraldton's got some amazing beaches. If you go north of Geraldton to a place called Okajee, it's just stunning. Especially if you're a windsurfer in the evening and get some amazing winds up there. Awesome for windsurfing. They've got awesome beaches. You go down to Flathead, Kalbarria's up there. There's a set of beach shacks halfway up there called Lucky Bay. Again, absolutely amazing camping spots. Really great place to go to. Just pretty much all of that Midwest region along the beach is absolutely stunning. So, yeah, unneeded, I think. Yeah, really, really unneeded. And I'd love to know how much this have your say thing is going to cost the government. Yeah, anyway, go have a look. I'll do some reading on it, and in a later video, I'll give my opinion on this one. So that's going to be it for today's show. But one thing I do want to do is do a big shout out to one of my Patreons who did get their first house. So well done to Jason and family. I've known these guys for a while, and just couldn't be happier for them. So well done, guys. Congratulations on your first home. Hope you have many, many amazing memories in the house, and I hope it becomes a family heirloom and something you can give to the kids in the future. So well done. Congratulations. You guys worked really hard for it, and you deserve everything you're getting for that one. So very, very massive 2 thumbs up. Well done. Anyway, so I'm going to call this one a day. It is now 2:16 in the afternoon. So yesterday's show will be going up onto YouTube later today. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. This is Carter's Corner. Make sure you look me up on the Facebook. That's Carter's Corner. Twitch is... I actually can't remember what I called it on on Twitter, but there'll be links in the YouTube and Facebook comments on this one. And again, YouTube, Facebook, like, subscribe, and please on this one hit the follow button as well. So this has been Travis Carter for Carter's Corner Daily. Hope you have a wonderful day.